So now at the board we see my game against Wool, played many years ago when I was still very young and still promising. And I will show you this game almost complete in order to show how much of tactics there can be throughout the game. Not just one tactical solution in one position, but rather how basically every move could be filled by some intricacies, and how one finds his way through this maze using calculation, tactical skills, and some feeling, and also that in fact you cannot win the game without your opponent's mistakes, and you will also see what sorts of mistakes are regularly done and how all this happens. So in this position, which took place in anti-Miran opening, which is not really important for our purposes, the first thing we see is the pressure white exerts on f7 and thus on the king along this diagonal. And in fact, I wanted to make some immediate use of this and played knight g5. Whether it was so great, I'm not sure. After rook e7, rook ac1. In fact, rook ac1 is admitting the fact that knight g5 doesn't bring anything immediately. It just to attack this square and basically see what will happen. And also, it somehow would attack the square on h7 if something happened to the knight on f6. So basically just some move, so to speak, into the fight. And after rook e7, nothing was working immediately, and I just played rook ac1. Well, basically a developing move, and we should not forget something which can very often be important tactically. The rook gets to the same file with the black's queen on c7. Now, this might not look important at the moment because there are many pieces in between. But again, in chess, things happen and sometimes pieces disappear from the board. And then this could become the most important tactical feature of the position. So in this position, black could play something like e takes d4, and then knight b6. And then all the game would be completely unclear, and the better player would probably win at the end. But black decided that either his position is very good and nothing much is going on, or he wanted to provoke me for some action, but he played h6. And that's exactly what I hoped him to do. Now, we know that we came to g5 to put pressure to f7. And that's basically then the first move that should occur to us. Knight f7, rook f7. Now, of course, we immediately start checking whether we can win this rook along this diagonal. We try queen b3, for instance, logical, then knight b6, and then we see nothing happened. We try queen g6, we see knight f8, and again, we reach nothing. And then, of course, we try immediately bishop f7, king takes f7, armed with what we know. We try the check, and after king goes, let's say to g6, we see that suddenly many pieces disappeared from the c file, which were blocking it. And now knight b5 is a possibility, using this file and attacking the queen and the bishop on d6. But we also see that after queen b8, we do not win anything. But this is very important. We see that the possibility is there. There is a motive of playing knight b5, forking the knight on c7, bishop on d6, and basically that this could be promising under circumstances. And when we return to our initial position, we also see that we might be able to do it in the other way. We might go knight b5 first, and after c takes b5, play bishop takes f7, king takes f7, and queen b3 check, and then win the queen on c7 with the rook. So, and thus we have already seen this before, and it's important to remember some motifs from one line can come into other lines, and vice versa. So after knight b5, my opponent decided to play queen b8, like in the other line. But now, in comparison to this position, where I played queen g6, and black could use his queen to protect f7, now the queen is no longer there. So you see once again how all these lines should be seen not as one line at a time, but as a net, as basically the web of lines in which you try to catch your opponent. Now, after queen g6, this is not possible anymore, and black should just take on b5, queen f7, king h8. And now basically we see that we gained quite something. The queen is on b8 out of play, the rook is on a8, this bishop is undeveloped. And although we have a slight material deficit at the moment, black has two pieces for a rook, two knights for a rook, but they are not especially active, and we have all reasons to believe that black is better, that white is better, sorry. And we just continue in a calm way, play bishop e6, we put pressure on c8 and d7, and basically the position looks great for white at the moment. And basically black tries to keep the position closed, and white plays f3 to bring his other piece into play. And of course it is important to be able to play with all your pieces. So black, whose queen side is badly undeveloped, tries to solve this problem with knight b6. Now this also protects c8, and basically after f takes e4, bishop e6, queen takes e6, knight c4, we can already relax a bit and see what we can do in this position. So now we can say that our operation actually worked perfectly. We won material. In fact, white's center is great, and we could just play something calm, but it is always important to be ambitious and to try to do maximum in the position. And we still see that black's major forces are out of play on the queen side, and this should make us believe that maybe we can do something on the other side first. So we see that this knight is pretty annoying and creates some threats here, and we should try to see if we can achieve something by eliminating this knight. So rook c4, b c4, and now e5, basically forking two pieces, and we see that after knight e4, takes, we catch the knight, and after the knight is gone, we basically have a winning ending with two pawns up. Basically after this, we see what else he can do. We see that he can give a bishop h2 check in between, king h1, takes, and now after e5, knight e4, it will not be so easy to get the material back. But we also see, and this is very important, that now all his pieces are badly placed, not really coordinated and nothing. And this should lead us to the idea that we might be able just to crush him on the king side where he does not have many forces. And thus rook takes f6, takes, check, king h7. Now it is easy to see that white has perpetual check almost any way he likes, but of course he is not satisfied with it because he sees that the position promises more. Queen f5, king g7, and now we should know that queen, although a strong piece, can never mate itself, so we bring the bishop to help and create the ideas of d5. So the strength of white's position is confirmed by the fact that black is rook up at the moment. The rook is on a8, and even this rook up basically can do nothing to save black. So he played queen d6, now d5 check, king g8, e5, basically cutting black's forces on this diagonal. And now, if black would take queen d5, then just check. And if queen f8, then I made bishop b4. And if king h8, I will go e6 check, bishop e5, queen h6, king g8, queen g5 check, then get this bishop on e5 and eventually mate on g7 or on h5. So you see basically the things went wrong for black, and he tried desperate queen f8, trying to thwart the attack, and now the time has come just to calm down and just to win the game, which white achieved with queen g6, queen g7, takes, and king h2. So this is very often the case. After lots of tactical struggle, an attempt to mate directly and so on, white just wins some material back and gets the winning ending. In fact, black is still exchange up, but just white has too many passed pawns in the center, and basically supported by the bishop, they're just too strong. And in fact, their queen almost automatically if you push them forward. So king f7, e4, b5, e6, and just they went on, and just queen. And now nothing can stop d7, then e7, and d8, and so on. It was maybe one of the best games I played in my younger years. I was very happy to play it, and I was also very happy to display it here because of the number of tactical ideas which were in this game, and of the and basically because we could see how it happens in the real game, not just in one position, but how the tactical ideas occur to you in the opening, how your opponent tries to fight them, how you insist on your own, and basically I hope that this game provides sufficient material for a learner, and we just proceed with our tactical games.